Welcome back to the channel, viewers. Finally making another video on the 77 Chevette. Got all the interior out of it, dash, wiring harness, everything except for the door panels. I got the rear panels out. I got the side windows covered up with some cardboard real fast and dirty so that when I'm cutting the metal out of the car, I don't embed the sparks into my windows and ruin them, because don't know where I'm going to get more windows for a 77 Chevette. So got the drivetrain out of it. Went ahead and took the grill inserts out. Getting ready to, let's see here, find the hood prop. Holding the hood up with my head. Give me a second. Okay. Pulled the engine trans out of it. She's pretty rusty. Shock towers are rotten. I don't know how much of this I showed in the last video, because that was months ago. But down here in the front fenders, see the frame is rusted right there. And that's right where it turns into the rocker panel of the car. These cars have no body mounts. They're just sheet metal frame rails in the front, sheet metal frame rails in the back. I don't even know if you'd call this a unibody car, but there's your chintzy little frame rails. Now, as you can see, I'm cutting out the rear seat assembly, lower seat. I don't need that where I'm going. So I'm going to try to retain as much of the factory floor pan as I can. You know, I got to get this rear seat bracket out, seat belts. It's not going to be a back seat in this car. But if you look at my marks right here, that's where my 2x3 frame is going to start. So the frame rails are going to be 24 inches apart. And so you see I got some rust repair and stuff I have to do in this car. Now, the front of the engine bay will also be 24 inches apart. It's hard to tell, but these front frame rails are a little bit wider. As it gets closer to the front of the car, you can see how it kind of goes that way. But the frame rails, I'm going to make them out of 2x3 mild steel, 125 wall, and it's going to be 24 inches apart, straight forward from the front to the back. And plan on staying with the rack and pinion, manual steering. And then the firewall, of course I'm putting a small block V8 in this car, so firewall, I'm gonna have this nice little workbench, if you will, sitting here. Chevettes were a lot of work, so the factory was nice enough to put us in a workbench. Anyway, I'm gonna cut all that out and make that the firewall straight down and all the way across, which the wiper mount is mounted at an angle in the firewall. I'll have to figure that out as I go, because I do plan on putting the windshield wipers back on this car, because it is a street car. And as far as heat and possibly air conditioning, it's going to be a aftermarket system, like something similar to a vintage air. Maybe it will be a vintage air, I don't know. But anyway, there's cats hollering in the background. So 24-inch frame rails. These cars had an aluminum plate that covered the spare tire back here, and I still have that. So my plan is to still have to fill the fuel cell up in the back here, but I'm going to use that aluminum plate as a cover. So I'm going to try to retain the factory mounts for it. I can't even remember now. It's been a while since I took that out, but that's my plan with that. And as far as the rear suspension goes, plan on doing a 9-inch. Probably with a locker. I've already got a 31 spline locker. Not trying to make a whole lot of power out of this car, so 31 spline should be plenty. I do have a 33 spline axle with a spool and a gear. The whole thing's set up now. And with the wheels and tires that's on that rear end, it will actually fit right nicely tucked up inside this car. So I'm considering that. The only problem is that rear end happens to be in my front engine dragster. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there, but be cutting these wheel tubs out because I'm going to fab new ones for it. Obviously, because the frame is going to be, you know, somewhere in this area right here is going to be the frame rail. It's going to come straight back. And that'll allow me to put the fuel cell in it and actually go to a bigger fuel cell if it's needed in between the frame rails. I'm just going to utilize as much space as possible in this car because it is so small. And and I do plan on putting the rear shock bumper, we call them shock bumpers. As you can see, they're in the end of the frame rail here, where the shock goes in to the frame rail. But since I'm moving them inboard, yeah, that's what that's going to be. Not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet, but I'm going to do something. Let's see, gonna make it a leaf spring car. So it's still gonna be a little stiff, but I'm gonna start with 3 leafs out of an S10 2-wheel drive rear leaf spring setup. They're a bit longer, so than a car, but at least they're not a 4-pack or a 5-pack. I was gonna do a mono leaf with Calvert or Caltrax, whatever they're called, but I normally make all my suspension, so because by the time I get to that point, I know what the car is going to really need. So before I start spending a bunch of money and buying the stuff that I have to do a bunch of work to be able to use those parts, I'll just build my own car and go as I go. You know, I don't have any set deadline. This car is going to be used mainly just to cruise around and maybe do a little no prep stuff. Plan on putting a 275 radial underneath of it, like a Mickey Thompson radial. Already got a set mounted on some Chevrolet Rally wheels, but the plan is to well, it's not a plan, it's already been planned. I'm just gonna make it accept a 10, maybe as much as a 12-inch wheel, but definitely a 10-inch wheel. And that's what I'm doing, you know. So what else was I gonna say? I told you about the leaf springs, told you about the 9-inch. Still figuring out which one I want to use on that, 31 or 33. Let's see. So that's going to require me to move the steering column back, so I'll probably make a column for it. I mean, I know I will, because the only thing I'll probably use off of that will be the steering wheel. Maybe. I do have another aftermarket steering wheel that's a little smaller in diameter. Yes, the car is manual steering from the factory. However, it's manual rack and pinion steering, so it's somewhat easier, even with the additional weight of the V8 small block and automatic transmission, which I'm still up in the air if I'm going to go with a 350, 400, or Power Glide, because I have all 3. I build transmissions, so, you know, I try to keep what I need on hand till I make up my mind. And yeah, so I'll be basically the driver's seat will probably be about right there, that highest edge of what's remaining of the rear seat pan. And so that's basically where the driver's seat may go. I don't know yet. I'm 6'2", so this is like, you know, it's going to be a lot of test fitting. And plus I want to make the seat, because I'm reusing the factory seats, and the wife is going to drive this car, so she's going to need to be able to slide it forwards and backwards. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Just a hollowed out Chevette. Just kind of, I hadn't posted a video on this car in quite a while. I hadn't really had much chance to do anything to it. And I kind of got it sitting outside somewhere else right now, and hadn't really had time to do anything. And so I'm just trying to make a little time this past week to do a few things. Like right now, I'm fighting with getting the gas tank straps loose. This bolt here stripped out on me, so I'm gonna have to cut it. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna hop off here. This is a long video. I know it's a lot of talking about what I'm gonna do and a few things of what I've done, but blah blah blah. Hey man, subscribe to the channel. The more people that subscribes, likes, and comments on my videos, the better it helps the channel get out there. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm making a bunch of money, but it helps, you know. It helps get the views up, and once the money does start coming in, I'll be able to use that money to buy parts and metal and supplies to build these things. If you watch some of my other videos, you'll see I got a lot of projects of my own, and I'm getting a little tired of seeing them sit around. So I thought, well, I better start working on this one, because I really don't want to let this one go. But anyway, but you know, like I said, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Questions or comments, leave them down in the comments below. Click that notification bell so you'll get notified when I post my next video. All right, I haven't posted a long video in a while, so hopefully y'all will watch this one. You guys will watch this one through its entirety, because it helps with the algorithm and makes YouTube share it more for me. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.